Hi everybody, this is Kim, and I wanted to talk very briefly about crystal properties. This is something that I think about a lot, like where did the crystal properties come from? So we have the physical properties that we get, like how hard is the crystal, where is it mined, how does it grow, what's its streak color, what's its specific gravity, etc., etc. So you have the physical properties, so that makes sense. So where do the spiritual and metaphysical properties come from? Like, that's a really good question, right? And when you go from website to website or video to video, book to book, sometimes you'll see a certain pattern with crystals, a certain theme. Like rose quartz is always the love stone, right? Every place you read, everything you hear, it's always rose quartz is the love stone. Black tourmaline is always the one for transmuting negative energies and things like that. But then sometimes there's a lot of contradiction, right? Or when somebody asks you, well, what crystal should I use for this and that? You get like such a plethora of responses. So it's like, what's right? You know, who's right? Where's this information coming from? So I think a lot of the information I think comes from like however many years ago, from ancient texts and ancient writing and things like that. So we might get some information from that. But then we also have more modern channelers, people that will channel crystal energy, and then get information through that, through meditation, through actually working with the crystals, trying different methods, trying different ways to work with the crystals or different combinations of crystals and seeing the outcomes. And so you do have people that have done that as well. And so I mean, we just get this information through just so many different sources. But I think at the end of the day, the most important thing, and I tell you this all the time, is how it works for you. How does the crystal work for you? The love stone, rose quartz, may do absolutely nothing for you. It might even make you angry, even though it's supposed to be peaceful, calming, and loving, and all those good positive things. It might make you angry as heck, right? Or you might think that it makes you angry as heck. So, you know, working with the crystal energy and the properties and stuff is such an individually based thing. It's okay to look at what others say. That's fine. But if you don't try it yourself, you know, just to see how it works for you, then there's really no point in working with the crystal. You really need to do what feels right to you. All right. So when you get your new crystal, don't really look up the metaphysical properties. Look up the actual physical properties, because you want to know, is it something that you can put in water? Is it going to fade in the sunlight? Is it going to crack? You know, you want to know if it's fragile. You want to know if it's toxic, you know, things like that. So you do want to know the physical properties before you hold your crystals or work with them in any way, right? That's very, very important. But the actual spiritual, metaphysical stuff, I think you got to do it yourself. I really, really, really do. Now, I have been working on, and this sounds kind of contradictory, and it's not meant to be, so let me explain. So I've been working on a crystal properties section on my website for well over a year, maybe a year and a half, 2 years now. And I recently opened it up, and you have to sign up for my email, my newsletter. But you can, once you do, you can just easily unsubscribe, so it really doesn't matter. But you have to sign up in order to get the direct link so that you can have the menu to all the different crystals that I have pages for. Again, I've been working on this forever. I may never finish. I'm sure I will never finish. I can only do what I can do. Plus, I only share stuff that resonates with me and experiences that I have had and ways in which I've worked with these crystals. So I don't have information about crystals that I've never worked with or have in my own collection or anything like that. So my information is going to be a little bit limited. I give you examples of different crystal grids, body layouts, affirmations you can use with those crystals, when you want to work with the crystals, whether it's a full moon or certain seasons or whatever. But I just give some ideas on things that I've done and tried, and I put it all on one page. So if I have a video about amethyst, but I also have a lot of pictures about amethyst, or I've done a lot of crystal grids that have had amethyst in them, or I've done body layouts that have amethyst in them. I take a lot of that stuff that I've created and done and things that I've tried, and I put it all in one section. So you could just go to amethyst and see all my videos about amethyst, or see all my pictures that have amethyst and information. So it makes it very, very easy. But again, most of it is from my experiences. And so I share a lot of my experiences and how I utilize working with that crystal. So if you want to go check it out, www.recreativeresources.com. Enter the spiritual section of my website, and then right smack in the middle on the menu above is resources. Click on resources, scroll on down, you'll see crystal properties. You have to sign up for my newsletter, but again, when you get the first newsletter, then you could just unsubscribe if you don't want to receive the information from me, which is very rare. Once a month, maybe once a month. No, I do once a month, sometimes twice a month, but very rarely twice a month. Only if there's a crystal showcase that month, there'll be 2 newsletters coming out. So you're not getting spammed. Believe me, you're really not. So go ahead and check that out. Again, work with it yourself. Work with the crystals yourself and figure out what works for you. All right? I think that's so important. People talk about different crystals and, this is true and this and this and that. And it's not, because we're so different. Our energies are different. And plus, your crystals could be different. I mean, for the most part, they especially when they're in the same location, if they're mined from the same location, I think that they're the same. But I mean, if they're from different parts of the world or whatever, there might be a different vibe to them. Like, not all amethysts are the same, right? Depends on where they're mined. It depends on the type. It depends if there's inclusions in there. It just depends on how it grows or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's really how you work with it and how it affects you. What your outcomes are. That's what you want to be looking at. And you want to be writing that down and keeping track. I think that is so important. You always, you think you're going to remember, but you don't remember. All right? So when you have interesting experiences, write them down and see how it works for you. I did a video the other day about Larimar, right? I talked about Larimar and how it made me feel very much in the present, which I think is okay. I mean, usually Larimar is all about letting go, moving on, but I had such an in-the-moment experience with the Larimar, and I also had like a really excited for the future, ready to take action from the Larimar, and I've never read that. I don't even know where that came from. That came from just me on the beach for 2 hours with my Larimar, and I had aquamarine too. But that's just an example. So it's not always the same for everybody. All right, crystal properties. It's up to you, So when you find all that contradictory information and all these books and videos and even my stuff might contradict what happens, that's okay, right? How it resonates with you, but you have to make a connection. You have to meditate with that crystal. You have to sit in solace with that crystal. Sit out in nature, hold it on your heart, hold it in your hands. You have to make a connection in order to really find out how this crystal affects your energy. All right, so let me know in the comments below. 1, did you sign up for my crystal properties pages? Have you been enjoying it? Please head on over and check that out if you haven't. And 2, what do you think about crystal properties? Where do you think it comes from? Where do people get this information from? I know I get it when I meditate, but it's not just through meditation. It's just through working with the crystal, giving it a few weeks to be in my energetic field, and just taking note of dreams and synchronicities and signs and things like that happen. And that's where I get it from. Where do you get yours from? Where do you get your crystal information from? Do you get it from other people, or you're getting it from yourself? Combination of both? I would say I'm a combination of a lot of different things. When I originally started out, I got a lot of information from other people. Now it's kind of like a little bit of both, and it's moving more toward how this crystal is making me feel. All right, so I'd love to hear about it. Let me know in the comments below where you get your crystal property information from, and does it resonate with you when you listen to other people's interpretation of the crystal. All right, everybody, thank you for joining me on this very quick video, and as always, you have a blessed day. Bye.